G'day, mate. Yeah, exceptionally well for Sunday evening.
They have a large vault.
Hello.
Hi. How much longer are you on the train for?
We got in about 1 o'clock actually, so the train journey is over, and we're staying at a place halfway between Hokitika and Greymouth at the moment.
So you are completely in the middle of nowhere.
Very much so, but they have internet, thank God. So
Yes.
I have 1 bar of 3G on my phone, so there would have been no hotspotting tonight.
Well, let's see how it goes. Let's see if it lasts. Greymouth's a lovely spot, what I call.
Yeah, I've just Yvonne's just been out watching the sunset. So it's blue sky on the west coast of New Zealand, which is almost unheard of. So yeah, it's lovely tonight.
I imagine you've got another week of fine weather in New Zealand, Julian. Don't worry about that.
I think Tuesday's going to be a bit crappy over here. It's going to rain a bit. Surprise, surprise. But we've got 3 days on the west coast. Then we start to head inland towards Hammer Springs. So it's all getting a bit real now, Paul. I'm on the 7th of February, and in 20 days' time, we're on our way back to Auckland, having crossed over to Islander. This isn't fun anymore. I'm like, I've got less in front than I have got behind.
No, I wouldn't overly analyse it, man. I just get on with enjoying it.
And thank you. And I don't plan on
mostly some people in the spouse. We do have some people in the room, guys. So we will start. We are on streaming. I am going to grab the screen, and I think I'm going to grab the screen. I'm going to start talking. Welcome, everybody. Welcome along to this episode of our Sunday analysis show, the Sunday TTR show. It is great to have your company. My name is Paul Bottrell. I'm the founder of Access to Wealth and Online Trading Profits. In the show today, normally we have 5 minutes from Alexis on fundamentals, but I have not seen Alexis as yet in the show. So unless someone can tell me she's there, we might have a quick look at Forex Factory and see what lies ahead for the week before we go over and have a chat with Julian coming to us from the middle of nowhere in New Zealand. Let me change the share and come into Forex Factory. I'm sure I've got that already. Let's get you onto that. Look, pretty quiet week ahead, to be honest. Obviously, we've got Japanese and Chinese holidays starting from Wednesday. The Chinese New Year will run through, I would imagine, through in China through most of the back part of this week and well into next week. That's interesting. Not a lot of news, really. It's very quiet. A lot of orange stuff in there. Bank holiday in New Zealand. Well, that is in reality in Monday on Monday, New Zealand time for Waitangi Day, and on Wednesday, Bank of England Governor Bailey speaks. Fed Chair Powell speaks. Never to be underestimated either of those two, but doesn't look like a big week. And come the holidays on Thursday, Japan, China, and Friday for China. Next week, the Chinese holidays will run through until Tuesday by the look of that. And we're starting to get some more meaty news coming out on Wednesday next week. Really looks like a reasonably calm weekend. Gosh, been some pretty friendly markets here and there for mine. I do hope you guys are trading well and making something out of it. Hey everybody, welcome along. Welcome along everybody. Good to have your company. Look, I'm going to hand over pretty quickly to our guest presenter today, Julian. Julian, where are you?
Today, Paul, I am in a very, very lovely house somewhere halfway between Hokitika and Greymouth, which is on the west coast of the South Island.
Mate, just towards the top of the west coast of the South Island, isn't it? Greymouth, we're looking about maybe 2 or 3 hours down from, well, maybe a couple of hours down from Picton, isn't it?
That's right. Yeah. So this is This is a beautiful part of New Zealand, but for those of you who know anything about meteorology, they have an extraordinary amount of rainfall, somewhere in the region of 8 meters a year, which by anybody's account means it rains an awful lot.
Yep.
So
Sounds like most of the
thankfully,
UK.
I've been blessed with a blue sky today.
That is nice, mate. It's the right time of year for that kind of thing, but I'll bet it's spectacular down there on a sunny day. Mate, what about these markets? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, look, and thanks for the intro, Paul. So, well, I guess looking back on the week that we've just had, well, all eyes, I guess, have turned to silver. So, have the Wall Street bets guys managed to corner the silver market? Is probably the question that everybody on Monday night was asking themselves. And by Thursday, I think the answer was pretty clearly no. So, what appears to have happened is the guys have maybe overreached themselves or not spotted whatever they perceive the short position to be tradable. So we'll see what happens. Now, what does that mean? Well, for those of you that are looking at the precious metals in general, I think the last 2 to 3 weeks is very instructive. So if you look at a gold chart, it looks a bit sad at the moment. We're trading near the lows of the recent trading range that we've established now for the last 2 or 3 months, and somewhere in the low 1800s. However, if you go look at platinum, which is one of the cousins of the precious metals, or cousins of gold in the precious metals class, platinum is a completely different chart pattern and looks far more bullish than that. Also, if you look at silver, whilst it had a spike last week based upon you could argue an attempted coup in the market by the Wall Street bet guys, the overall pattern in silver still looks quite attractive. And so from my perspective, what I'm looking at here, when you look at silver and gold and platinum all together, those precious metals are still just fine. It just at the moment, gold is not trading as well as the other ones. As you can see, that's a thank you, Paul. That's a daily chart of gold. We can see in the background, and then PT is platinum. We just stick that one up just to give you some idea of how that trades, and that looks like a completely different chart. And maybe, Paul, if you've got silver there, XAG USD, if you wouldn't mind putting that one up as well too. Neither of those two charts look particularly bearish, so this is really important. Now, historically, platinum and gold, I can't do this, and Paul won't be able to do this on his MT4 platform. Please go and look it up on one of the internet charting services. Platinum and gold look very cheap when you compare it against platinum, and silver look very cheap when you compare it against gold. So silver's cheap against gold, platinum's cheap against gold, and historically they're at what I consider to be very attractive levels. So at the moment, it may appear that gold is not in favor, but actually it doesn't mean to say that precious metals overall are falling out of favor. I think there's just a little bit of rotation in those markets. So I remain long-term bullish of gold, no question about it. Short-term, we have a little bit longer to go until the seasonal in gold starts to give us some problems, and that seasonal pattern tends to run into a bearish cycle beginning, call it March-ish time. So we've got a month to go. Now, from a gold trading perspective going forward, I like the market going down because that gives us the opportunity to be able to put some longs on when the time comes, and we're trading at and around the lows of recent times. So that's good. So if towards the end of this week we're confronted by some buy signals in gold, then I suggest that you take them, because seasonally that's the right time of the month to be doing it, and run it through for 2 or 3 days. And really, the pattern in gold remains fundamentally positive through the whole of this month. After then, all bets are off. And we run into a seasonally negative time, which takes us through to sometime in July, August, when things change. So that's quite important, because I suspect that gold over the course of the next 4 or 5 months may well go nowhere at all and consolidate. But we've got a month really where we've got an opportunity to take advantage of it. So when we look at other things that I'm concerned about right now, we will talk foreign exchange in a minute, but I just want to talk about the equity markets. I had in my head a price target just above 3,900 on the S&P in the States. Well, we're getting pretty close to that. We might well get up there later on this week. And
so
we'll
I'm
see.
a little bit behind you. I've just brought up the gold seasonal showing a sort of mid-March pullback.
Yep, that's
here
it. They get it.
on this.
Yep, and they get a bit boring. There's nothing really a seasonal pattern until you get to July when it starts to take off again into the seasonal bullish point. So thank you, Paul. Brilliant. From, as you can see, it's reasonably bullish through February, and then it starts to turn over the beginning of March time. So really important seasonal patterns worth bearing in mind, tends to repeat themselves. So really, from our perspective, our trading perspective, this is a good time to be owning gold. So I'm still looking for buy signals. We then can get a bit more granular about that and try and pick out some certain times of the week and the month to be looking at that, just coming up towards the end of this week. After that, after we get into the beginning of March, then it gets into a seasonal bearish time, which I suspect this time around could cause gold just to go sideways. So we'll see. If it does go up for March, then it's not having the seasonal supporting it, so it'll be going up, as far as I'm concerned, from a trading perspective, on lower size than I would normally deploy when the seasonals are backing it up. So just something to bear in mind. So then getting back to the stock markets, just very briefly, I have overall major concerns about the stock markets and the way they're behaving. Now, the reason why I have major concerns about that is because I think there's some kind of secular top occurring here. Don't know how it's going to spin out, but we can all see the signs, right? The old shoe shine boy stories about GameStop and everything else. So I made money in GameStop when it went from 6 to 550. That seems perfectly reasonable. Well, no, it's not. That's ridiculous. And it's very unreasonable and is often a sign of a euphoric market. Now, we talked about the sentiment cycle before. You've heard me talk about it recently on the retreat, and I'm going to reiterate my point. We're at the enthusiasm point of the sentiment cycle as far as equity markets are concerned. Doesn't mean to say they're going to go down. It's just really highly unlikely they're going to make much headway to the upside, despite last week's rally. Okay, and that's quite important. So, like I said, I had a target in mind on the S&P up at about 3,900, and we're pretty close to that now. So that's a target that I've had for months and months, right? So just bear that in mind. So I am very nervous about equity markets from here on in. Doesn't mean to say they're going to go down. I've got to see a sell signal first. But just bear in mind that I think we're getting maybe close to some kind of intermediate tops to take appropriate measures. Often what happens with tops is the market, the S&P may well go sideways, but the individual stocks within those indexes might well rotate. So you'd be looking to get out of growth and into value if you want the technical way of doing it. Now, what does that all mean for foreign exchange? Because obviously a move in the asset markets, if they did change, what does that mean for foreign exchange? Well, I think that means for foreign exchange that things are going to get more volatile. In my head, things I'm looking at the moment, those of you who've been on my broadcast group knew we had successful trades in the US dollar rally against Canada, against the Swiss franc, against Japanese yen. That's all worked out really well. We're out of a lot of those positions now, and we've only got a small one left in the Canadian dollar, which isn't really behaving. So maybe Monday I might get out of that too. And I'm going to take a breather on my US dollar bearish scenario. The reason why I'm going to take a breather is because I just want to see how the markets are going to trade. Now, it may be because we have a big stimulus package and some other fundamental news going through in the States that people's attitudes about the dollar might turn around. It also might turn around if the equity market goes down. So there could be lots of things that are going to happen. I think the key thing for me is to try and watch it and trade it. We've had a US dollar bounce. The question is how far it's going to go, or is this the start of a new trend? And I think that's really the key message from me, is we've got to watch this like a hawk to perhaps trade, if you like. If we're looking at dollar yen, we see dollar yen come down a little bit and try and pick something up on a retracement, because for the time being, the overall trend is for the dollar yen to trade higher. Same with the Swiss franc. The overall trend for the past couple of weeks is for the Swiss franc to trade higher. And we just want to try and look to see how that works over the course of the next few days and take advantage of retracements. I don't think the market's going to rapidly run away from ourselves, so we've got plenty of time. But as you can see, Friday there was a bit of a setback. So if we maybe get a lower open tomorrow or Monday, that might be quite interesting and worthwhile looking at. But for the time being, we've had quite an aggressive rally in the dollar now. We've gone from 87.80 all the way up to 90 to 90.50. Believe it or not, that's almost been 3 big figure rally in the dollar Swiss, which is pretty impressive, really. And we've just had a bit of a setback on Friday as a result of that. So this is about caution from here on in. And if we are going to see a move in the stocks, then obviously we'd expect that stranger things are going to start to happen in the foreign exchange markets. So when I look at the euro US dollar, my very brief analysis of that is, without being too stupid about it, Thursday was a interim low by the look of things. We'll see what happens. And maybe the euro has finished going down for the time being. It hit major support area exactly with what you'd expect it to do. And maybe 125 beckons again. We'll see, but we've got to see how it trades for the next 2 or 3 days. The only other thing I would just like to mention is what's going on in the oil market. I know that probably either Ainslie or I don't quite know who else does the oil might make some comments about oil. But oil broke out again on the last 4 or 5 days, almost a classic breakout move, reversal breakout move. And we're now looking at oil trading up about $3 or $4 on the week. Right, if not more than that, actually about $5 on the week. So this looks like a very strong breakout. Again, what would you be doing with this? Well, I'd be looking to think about if there was a potential reversal, a retracement, be looking to try and put that retracement on. I don't think it's reversal territory. I think it's just a retracement. Pretty powerful up move. If you put a weekly chart up there, that looks like a pretty powerful weekly move. And you're not really going to try and fade that. The question is where it gets to next. So looking to try and pick something up in oil. And that's actually a fairly familiar pattern that we've had in quite a few commodities this week. Copper's been rallying quite hard this week, aluminium the same. You've seen some of the primary metals rally. Interestingly, despite the US dollar rallying as well too, they're almost ignoring it. So that actually, I think, is very interesting for inflation, very interesting for the way the commodities are trading, and also for the longer term outlook for all of those commodities, as well as possibly the US dollar, which may rally at the same time as commodities do, which is unusual, but it is possible because these days pretty much anything is possible. So we'll just watch the technical pattern on that. And my old favorite, just for the record, is coffee. And coffee has its seasonally bearish time, as just a brief bearish time has come to an end. And from a bullish perspective, coffee is looking to rally again now for the next 6 weeks. So fingers crossed we might see some action in the coffee market to back up my constantly bullish view that coffee has got to go a lot higher, notwithstanding the fact I don't drink any of it, but that's just a fundamental play. Paul, I think that wraps it up for me.
Cheers, mate. Thank you very much for that. Interesting stuff. So been a good week in the broadcast group, Julian. You've taken a few nice winners in there.
Yeah, it has been a good week, actually. So the dollar rally that we identified really came off, and we moved very quickly on the dollar Swiss move that occurred on Monday. The breakout, and got into that very early on, which then turned out to be a super trade for most of the week, and we made a good profit out of that. So. It's been a good run in the broadcast group for the last week or so.
Should keep you holidaying on the South Island, mate.
I'm looking forward at some point to get back to Auckland, but I don't know when that's going to be.
That's only because you haven't been stuck in traffic up there for a few weeks, mate.
Right, exactly. Then I'll be going. Where can we go next?
Cheers, Julian. Thanks very much, mate. We will talk to you again next week, and thank you for that. We're going to go to Shukri and talk crypto, I think. Shukri, you with us?
I am indeed. It has gone totally crazy.
Did I see Bitcoin back at 39,000?
Yes, and the crypto space, guys, now is absolutely bonkers. I don't know what to take, and okay, let me share this. I don't even know what to say about it. You know, there's a phase in life where you say that the first phase was, when we were in the Bali thing, right? Okay, it wasn't Bali. That was when, the strategies are working and we're making money. And then it was to pay, hey, this is good. This is making money. And now it's like, I have no idea why I'm making money. Okay, we are there now. And this is the last time I'm going to remind you, Paul, because tomorrow is February 8th. Guess what happened to Ethereum? It had to go up, right? So it has broken finally this 1,450. We're now at 1,642. As promised, I've sold 80% of my Ethereum, guys. I sold it at 1,748. So I kind of near the top, but I don't know what's going to happen. Tomorrow is the day of the CME futures. Okay, they're going to launch it tomorrow. Remember, there's no underlying there. Okay, guys, it's just contract, futures contract, and all that, and anything can happen. The last time Bitcoin did that, it went down, but now it seems that just before the listing here, there are two funds that are buying Ethereum. One is Grayscale. The other one is the Galaxy Fund. So two new funds have come and bought up Ethereum, okay, just before that. And Bitcoin, I think Bitcoin...
Can we hang on that Ethereum? Can we go back to the Ethereum chart for a second?
Yeah.
Right, that fall away in volume does surprise me, given that it's going to be listed on CME. We've seen a sort of steady fall away in volume in the last, almost from the start of the year. We've seen one spike up, and other than that, the volume fall away. That does surprise me with this kind of buying. You expect this kind of buying to be, this kind of stuff's normally brought on. You see the big run up, in December, and you see how volume climbed and it goes up, and it makes you think there's substance to the fall away in volume. I think, I'm not an expert in Bitcoin, but I like your time to get out, and it's like Ethereum. It's like any of this crypto stuff, right? It could easily be a week from now at 2,000, and you look back and think, my gosh, and it could easily be at 1,000. You look back and think, thank God I got my money. But with that volume falling away like that on the buying, I'd be pretty tempted to be getting out of my positions as well.
Yeah, guys. So again, let me show you my picture again. This is a warning, guys. Not a warning. Okay, guys. So guys in the class, I know you're having a fun time. Please come back to the spaceship by February 17th, okay? Or you're going to be late. We're going somewhere else on February 18th. February 17th, 0600 GMT, okay? Make sure you do whatever you do. Until then, have a good time. And as I issued in the report today, 1% stop loss on all positions, okay? You can YOLO what you want. Make sure you only use 1% if you go forward. That's what I'm doing now, okay? It can go, but hey, it can go back very fast and you won't be in the mood to get out anyway, so don't do that. But this is interesting. It seems like people are even trading the November calls. That's 10K bullish call on Ethereum's. And in fact, one of the best, which I think is even the best for the stock market, the guy is Tom Lee from Fundstrats. His firm issued this on 10K Ethereum. Now, who's Tom Lee? He was probably the only two analysts that said to buy the S&P when it was going down in last year. The other one was Larry Williams. Okay, so these guys are good. Again, there's a lot of things to be bullish about Ethereum, but just be careful to get out. Now, let me tell you the state of insanity that's going on in the market. Insane. Yes, we're making money, but I've come to the point, I don't know why I'm making money. So here it is, Paul. So look at that. So I told you guys during that day, right, we bought this poker starter at 700, put it into paid, and that has become 61,000. Just look at that. That's 91 times in 3 months. That's like GME in steroids, okay? That's like, imagine if the taxi driver got on this. Imagine if your grand
Can you say those figures again?
Huh?
Can you say those figures again?
I bought Poker Starter at $711 in November. I sold partially because I only needed 3,000 to stake to get into paid, right? So that profit from Poker Starter I put into paid, which now has become 54,000 US dollars. So 711 I even can't get the figures right. 711 US dollars has multiplied to 61,496 US dollars, or 91 times in 3 months. Is that right? Is it 9,100%? I don't even know that.
It certainly looks something like that to me. It's that's some pretty astronomical money. $700 to 61,000. That's the honestly, if I didn't, if we didn't know you, I'd be looking at this stuff going, that's the stuff that scams are made of.
Yeah, I know.
I saw you do this. I actually saw you do this. I saw you buy it for $700. It's like, whoa.
Right. But I'm not proud of this. I'm proud of our student. I'm not gonna give names, okay? The name is secret, but look what he did on Friday. This is when our live class on Friday. Look, he went into another IDO call room, and he's like, he paid $300. He made like 12,000 within, what was this, 1 hour? And yeah, a good day's work. Yeah, guys, this is that typical of a good day's work, okay? You guys know what to do.
Actually, we are going to run some more classes with you reasonably soon. I was talking to James about it the other day. We're back with you after Chinese New Year, so we'll get some stuff out about that kind of stuff. Because look, it's crypto's time, right? There's no question about it that right now crypto's in the sun, and everybody's looking at it. And you know, I say this all the time that 10 years from now, Bitcoin will either be at $1 million or at zero. Won't be anywhere in between, but it'll be at one of those two places, and you might as well have a look at the ride. Just don't, you know. Putting $300 in and making 12,000 is amazing. Don't put 30,000 in because you might.
I know. And look at this.
Retire, or you might do your money.
I mean, like Brian. Oh, that's just another day. Oh, okay, next one.
Insane, right? That's incredible.
Yeah, but one more thing, Paul. I think from tomorrow we got to do this in our YouTube show. I got to tell Mai to say that some people might be impersonating me because the most popular thing on crypto, guys, because of this, there will be people that come and attack our YouTube channel and actually say that Actions to Wealth is asking for money. This is normal, okay? So we got to be careful, guys. Just be careful of scammers. I will not ask any money from you. No one from Actions to Wealth will ask any money from you. So beginning tomorrow, we will issue that warning. We will issue that warning. Just take note, okay, guys? Thanks.
Right. Anything else, Shukri?
That's it.
That is it. I think you're to do the show us the maths again. Lewis is saying that
yeah, that's it.
86 times it is, so it's not 86%, so it's 86 times the money.
Yeah.
So it's as a percentage going up from 7,000, 100% would be to take it to make another 700. So 70,000 would be 1,000%. So yeah, around 900%. Is that right?
9,000.
9,000. There you go.
100%. See, now I have to do my math again because in crypto, Paul, we don't even talk percent.
8677. I think you are right, Lewis. 8,677%. So you didn't make your 9,000, Shukri. So back to work tomorrow. We want 9,000%.
Back to work today.
Mate, Bitcoin's going to gap up Monday morning, right, on places like Fusion, because Fusion's closed it out at about 38,300 or something, and it's well over 39 now, right? So it's going to gap up in the morning, right?
Yes. So remember the CME gap. Okay, please measure on Friday to see where the CME gap is. I'm sure there's a gap, so that will represent a gap, and if it goes down, then you know where the support is. And I think by next week we'll also do that on Ethereum. Just mind those gaps.
Cheers, mate. Thank you very much. Next in, we have got Ainslie doing gold and oil, and after that, we've got Lloyd in to do some currency strength, and Geoff's with us to do to have a look at some technical stuff as well. Boy, that crypto stuff is amazing at the moment, isn't it? Boy, I don't recall seeing those kind of returns that quickly. Very often in my entire life. It really is quite an amazing place to be. I've got to say this. Shukri comes on, he shows you this stuff, and look, I've seen him do this stuff live in shows. It really is genuine. But be really careful trying to do this stuff at home on your own, because where there's a winner, there's a loser, and that's the way markets work. And you want to make sure that you're following people who know what they're doing, because you don't want to be on the other side of these deals. Lots of guys got hammered on.
Remember, guys, I'm getting out. Just remember that I'm getting out. I'm just telling you guys, right?
Yeah, I like the fact you're getting out of some of that stuff. Shukri. At the end of the day, I'd imagine, even for a young fellow like yourself, the thought of getting out of all it and retiring must be quite tempting. Jesus, how much money you made the last year? Talking about money, Ainslie, how you doing?
Why'd you associate me and money like that?
Look, you had a pretty good year last year, didn't you?
I did, but I'm not liking gold at the moment because it's not doing quite what I expected to do, but that's trading, isn't it?
It is trading, isn't it? And it's one of those things that I think trading is a great equalizer, isn't it? If you're prepared to stick at it, on the days where you think that you're the worst trader in the world and nothing's ever going to work for you again, all of a sudden the market just gives you a gift. And on the days where you think you're the best trader in the world and nothing can ever go wrong, the market's like to just sneak something off you. Look, I do have a question. We're a few minutes early. Can I answer the question before we get into the gold? I might get you to hang on. I know we've got a few other people in the room might want to jump into this. Got a question off YouTube. New Zealand dollar may go up one more time before dropping to 68. What do you think? What would be the case on your end? I want to add in and have a look at the Kiwi. Anyone going to join me for this? Anyone got any thoughts on the Kiwi dollar?
I haven't really looked at it, to be quite honest. Paul, I've been looking at a few other
So I was
things.
just trying to, I thought I was sharing my chart, which of course I wasn't, which will be impacting this.
Paul, I'm happy.
What do you got for us, Julian? Are you looking at the chart? Are you with us?
I am happy to jump in fact, Paul, if you'd like me to, if my internet connection can stay with me.
It'd be great if you, I presume he's talking about sort of coming back down, hitting, when he says 68, I presume he says, he's looking at hitting that kind of support down there. Interesting. You guys know I had a little crack at the short a couple of weeks ago, didn't quite get it to work. What are your thoughts, Jordan? We're going back up first?
Yeah, so if you stick a weekly chart up, I think one of the things that's really interesting is to analyze the, I don't know how far you can go back with that, but to the listener who jumped in with a question, just go and look at the previous times when the Kiwi has rallied over the course of the last 10 to 15 years. And you'll see from the analog with the Kiwi that we probably are towards the end of the move, but maybe not quite just yet. There's still a little bit more room that's possible. When the Kiwi has moved, it seemed to have moved just a little bit longer and further than where we've got to now. So I don't think there's any question that we could easily pause here. And are we in the 11th or I don't know what they call it, is America the 8th innings? Are we in the final stages? Yes, we probably are. Has it proven that this market can go down? No, it hasn't. It sits here. It's gone sideways for a while, whilst other currencies have done quite poorly against the dollar. The Kiwi hasn't done that badly, which is quite interesting. So what I would say on this is, as Paul is pointing out there, you've got major resistance a little bit higher than where we are now. I believe there's an opportunity for this to push a little bit higher, but as always, you've got to prove the case, right? So if we start to see the market trade down significantly or give the signs that there's a solid sell signal, then I'd have different thoughts. Right now, for the time being, I remain bullish.
Cheers, Julian. Thank you. Anyone else want to have a quick chat about it?
Just there was pretty good data on Tuesday, wasn't it? The unemployment figures were quite sensational, I thought.
Actually, I want to talk on that, Geoff. I think that economists, look, the economists in New Zealand have just got it wrong non-stop for the last 12 months. Everything they've predicted has just been a disaster. And it's not their fault. COVID's been pretty unpredictable. But those unemployment numbers, I think, need another quarter. We've come off a record drop in employment. We've seen a record bounce in employment, and we've now seen that sort of follow through a little bit. We've seen a little bit more employment. The numbers are way better than people were expecting, but it was the Christmas quarter, and while they're seasonally adjusted for fruit pickers and those kind of things. There might have been a few people working retail in New Zealand that don't normally work retail. I'd like to see those numbers. I'd like to see another quarter of those numbers before I got too excited about them. I think that the economists, the prominent economists love to get those numbers and jump about the press in New Zealand. It's always the same guy saying the same stuff. I personally think they're just a little bit, they're calling this as the end of the interest rate cuts and the New Zealand economy is in great nick and all the rest of it. At the moment, we're charging guys $500 a container to get them through the wharf as part of a surcharge because we can't get stuff through the wharf. Every container that comes through the wharf in Auckland's delayed 3 months and has a $500 surcharge on it. So there's not a lot of product in New Zealand. I wouldn't say that I think things here are, I'd be cautious on that. They were stellar numbers, Geoff. And I think to the point of being close to, on the verges of credible for mine, for that move to continue on unemployment in New Zealand. Julian, you got any thoughts on unemployment here?
So yes to everything you've just said. I think that it's a how can I put this? It's a story of two economies. I think outside of the hospitality sector, the economy is rocking. People are building houses and farmers are getting in good harvests. And unlike everybody else, being the naysayers, that part of the economy is doing awesome. The challenge is that around the hospitality area, it's not awesome. And my travels around the country have proved that. So I'm It literally is just a question of how soon we can get the country reopened again for tourism to pick up that part of the economy. I do not think either immigration, the housing industry, or the primary sector will have anything but a hiccup this year. It will just keep going and going and going. So I'm quite bullish on the New Zealand economy, to be honest with you. I don't know what the economists think, but I'm pretty positive once we get the hospo industry back working again.
The economists generally think the opposite of what they thought 3 months ago. It just seems to be at the moment they just go backwards and forwards pretty quickly. I really like that, Julian. I think it's really realistic. And so for our guy with the question, for mine, as Julian said here, we can see an upside target. It is an uptrend. I can see that being in play. But right now we're going sideways. And as Julian was saying, what we really need is a little bit of evidence. Would I buy this and try and pump it up the top? At this stage, that's a no from me. It looks a bit hesitant here to me. Would I short this and try and get it down to here? Not at this stage, but you give me a lower low and a lower high, and you could definitely interest me in having a little crack at running down here.
Yeah, exactly, Paul. I think we've got to start taking out some weekly lows here and closing below them to actually get me excited about some kind of downward move. Otherwise, we need to go to the point, we were just saying now, we've got to go and try and find out whether those sellers are still up there at the recent highs, right, at 73. So we either need to fail up there or we need to fail by going down. But right now, we're just going sideways, waiting for a decision to change.
Yeah, it would be harder to get me to buy this, looking to get long side on this at the moment. I need to see, really, I probably want to see that 73.50 level gone and, something retested before I'm really interested in getting long here. There's not a lot of space to get long and do much. Maybe on a daily chart looks a bit better. But, I think, again, this range here to me, boy, that's not convincing me I should be buying this right now. I'd want to see, again, a higher high, take out this, pull back and test it, give me a little run back up to these levels. Not a lot of space for me on the upside, a little bit more space for me on the downside if I did get some movement. So I like what you're saying, Julian. Thanks for that, guys. Interesting. And Geoff, the numbers, boy. All of a sudden, I've got Geoff Pine popping out with fundamental numbers. The world.
It's hard.
What's happening to the world I live in?
You got to be under a rock to miss that.
Yeah, they were amazing. They really were. And I got to say, I don't want to be the cynic because, I live here and I would absolutely love that to be the story. That would be an amazing thing if that's really what's happening here long term. That is incredible result for our country. So I hope it is. We'll wait and see. Let's get back to Ainslie and talk gold. Ainslie, welcome back.
No, you did. Hi, sorry, I missed that last bit. I was just being questioned as to whether somebody could sneak a treat before her dinner.
Well, I think we'll have a quick run around the team. The vote from the team is yes, that's fine.
No problem, Ian.
You are all dead. Dinner is sitting on the on the stovetop waiting for me to finish this. But anyway, no, she's not allowed the treat. And let's just have a look at. Actually, while you're there, let's just pull up a gold chart, please, Paul, because it really hasn't been. Yeah, it hasn't.
As you can see, Ainslie, I've just bought it.
It hasn't been my friend.
It hasn't been anyone's friend.
I was having a lovely December, had a lovely Christmas, and then New Year hit, and it just all went very pear-shaped. We're hitting here. Where we hit is just we're down into the 1700 numbers. We hit below 1800 on Friday night, and it was just hideous. There is nothing going on with this chart. I know with you, Paul. I'm probably a little bit punch drunk, actually, trying to wait for this to actually take a long shot. And I'm with you. I'm long-term bull for gold for a couple of reasons. One is Joe Biden's really, really pushing this stimulus package, and I know there are alternatives. I look at Julian's comments on equities, where he's saying, and I listened to a report from the Bank of America as well the other day, and their head equity trader is saying the same as Julian, where she's not bearish, but she's also not bullish. She's quite neutral, looking at what possibly else can come in to keep this momentum going on with that. So she's saying on the S&P and the Dow. Chukri's just said, look, crypto's a bit all over the place. What's going on there? We've had a week of the Reddit users trying to push gold up, and that's what we saw with the spike, and then they took that out, took their profits off, and came crashing back down. We've had a lot of all that going on, and look at gold. Gold has done nothing. Gold, except for drift down, drift up a bit, drift down. It's still a bit of I think it's one of those things that when all the popular stuff fades away, we've got good old gold that can be touch padded, traded, used for settlements, for whatever. It still has that essence that it is still a commodity that you can use, not just to trade it. With that 1800, I do believe, I'm just looking at that to see, and I'll watch it on Monday to see if there's going to be a bit of a pullback and a bit of a shakeout. And I would like to see it go long during next week, which it should do. And after studying quite a few of the other charts, and Ray has given us another chart, you showed us a bit of a run up through February. The post-election seasonal chart for that every fourth year, so it's an odd year, actually has us with a bit of a pullback on the first week of February, and then it takes off. And then we, unlike the other years, we're looking a bit more of a continued push up through March. But at the moment, it's trading gold with caution at the moment, because it's not doing anything that I really expected it to do. So unfortunately, I've got, it's a pack route ticket. Look at it, up and down, up and down, up and down. So, and it hasn't just been for a week. And if that's a daily chart, if we went down to a 4-hourly chart, it'd be like watching paint dry. But that's that. But the other one that we need to look at is, look at that. It's just, that's heartburn stuff. It's hard. You go to bed and you think you're doing really well, and then next thing you know, that you wake up in the morning, it's like, what are you doing down there? So it's been a hard couple of weeks, I've got to say, really hard couple of weeks. And for me, I've had nothing clear, which is why I haven't been able to put anything with my trader group, my broadcast group, because I just can't get them into this kind of nonsense. It's just all over the place. But if we're going to go and flick over to an alternative, beautiful oil, hello. 1, there's a seasonal rally due in first quarter on oil. Hello. 2, has it liked the fact that all the OPEC countries have been really, really good, playing really nicely together and kept to their restrictions? Yes, it has. 3, does it like the fact that all these COVID, the vaccinations has actually in this last week resulted in, and I know this is, how to word this carefully, we've seen still in the UK and the US phenomenal numbers as far as deaths and things like that. They're happening less. And I'm not trying to diminish I'm not trying to take away from the fact that those countries are still seeing a huge number of deaths per day. But what oil is liking, it's seeing the long-term effect of these vaccinations, and people are getting vaccinations, and only a small percentage of the populations of different countries are being utilized, have been done, but they're starting to see a light at the end of the tunnel. They're just starting to see the numbers come down, the number of hospitalizations coming down, the number of people infected, and the number of deaths all coming down. And they're just seeing
the trend is changing rapidly.
Maybe we've turned the corner on this. And that's what some of the commentators are saying. It's just oil saying that we're all going to start going back to normality at some stage sooner than it was a month ago.
Gosh, that'd be good news, wouldn't it?
Yes.
I'll tell you, I'm 5 days into 14 days of isolation.
Oh, how's that
And
going for?
well, I'm lucky when I'm isolated. I've got good company.
You, yourself, and I?
That's it. That's it.
Excellent. They're the
Honestly,
best,
I'm having
they're
a
the
good
best for
time
that.
pulling some strategies to pieces and just doing some analysis on some of the stuff we do. I'm loving that. I'm spending a few hours doing that each day. But other than that, it's a little bit boring. And when they've got me outside walking twice a day, it's a sign that things are are pretty dull.
What? Somebody's making you do exercise?
Well, no, they let me. You're allowed in managed isolation in New Zealand. You're allowed to go outside for 1 hour once a day, provided you stay within the confines of the property. It's all fenced off and there's soldiers and everything everywhere. But
Sorry, you just
Right.
described a prison cell.
yeah, no, that's what it is, and it's very similar. Apart from the friendly, they're friendly, provided you don't try and climb over the fence. In that case, they might shoot you. But in managed isolation, you're allowed out for 1 hour once a day, unless you ask if you can go out twice. In which case, apparently, there's a new rule. don't tell
Well, yeah, I guess that's a lot
don't
of
tell
time
the
to
government about the
research.
new rule.
And
Anyway,
so
sorry, we've gone well
oil's
off
like
target.
that at the moment. I wouldn't touch oil. If you drop down to an hourly chart, it really had a bit of a power. Sorry, 4 hourly, not an hourly. What do I don't know. 4 hourly. It had a bit of a power push on Friday night after the NFPs, and it's sitting up there. I'd like to see a bit more of a retracement before I went long, but I think you pulled it up before you went, I think, daily, and you're looking at a level of support around 63. I'm looking
I've been
for a
saying
pullback.
when I was doing the market analysis show before Christmas, I was saying that oil was a massive long-term buy, and that it was just a matter of timing it right. And I can't say I would have bought it down here because there's no reason to, but boy, it certainly looks like a massive long-term buy. Looking at getting some more data in.
Yeah, the other thing we're looking at is, which has been predicted for this coming week, is you always love a good Arctic blast, apparently. It's going to get cold in the States in the next
I've got family in New Jersey, and let me tell you, there's nowhere it's going to. It is pretty miserable over there at the moment. Oh yeah.
So we're looking at
hit down.
Yeah, so that's where I'm looking at, around that level. And I was a bit slow. You took the level off. You were moving it up and down. I was going to say stop right there. That's where I'm.
Look, I figure you can put it up here, and I figure you can put it down to here.
Yeah, but let's be safe and let's go with the previous levels of resistance and support that have been tested previously, and it's there. Yes. Yeah, around touchdown. It's around the 64 level. I mean, it's not precise, is it? Even though we like detail.
I'm on a weekly. It's not that.
I like that level. I like that level a lot, and that's what I'm looking at. I'm looking at a bit more of a retracement, like we had, and just the penultimate and the 3 bars prior to the one that we're looking at now on the far right. That was it trying to chew through the 200 simple moving average as well. All right, so there was a bit of push up and down and push up and down, and it finally chewed, and boy, did it go, and it went. But it just likes a lot of the and it's not next week. It's OPEC countries all sticking to the quotas. It's what they're saying with countries coming back online, and they keep quoting, China and Australia and New Zealand doing quite well with there you go, 222, and we all know that you get to a 200 simple moving average, your trade management tells you if you get there, you've really got to watch your P's and Q's around there. There's a lot of congestion around there, and the long-term effects that they're seeing, all the vaccinations are starting to have on returning to some kind of normality, which is really positive for oil going forward. And we know oil is not necessarily a technical thing. It just relies on the news drip feeding it, and it's supply and demand.
I think it's easy to forget is that you sort of get involved in all this stuff down here, and you think that oil's in its area, but oil's got a lot of space to go up if it wants to.
It does. But go back, if anybody's looking at trading it next week, just look at your 4-hourly chart or your hourly chart if you need to, and wait for a bit of a retracement. You've hit that. It had a really big push up. Yeah, all week. She needs a breather, and before she'll go again. And I believe up around that 64 level, which you're absolutely right. And you know, she's going to get cold up north in the northern hemisphere. It's beautiful, 27 degrees here this afternoon. Not too hot. It was not too hot when I went for a run. Paul.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah.
It wasn't too hot for my walk either.
So that's me with gold and oil, and yeah, I'm just going to see the shakeout on gold and wait for a retracement on oil, but I'm looking good for longs on both.
There you go. You enjoy just have that dinner and dinner with the girls, and we will go to Lloyd and talk about relative currency strength. Lloyd, are you with us?
Hi, Paul. Yeah,
Hey, man,
I am here. Right, I'm doing good. After this, I'm just going out cycling again. Seems like the weather is nice enough.
Gosh, running, cycling. What's happened to our team?
I'm trying to get a girlfriend. No, not really. I'm just too bored at home.
Yeah, no,
For a weekend. All right, let me grab the screens. Okay, so here we go. I think this is going to be an interesting week for me for trading. Hopefully, I'll just be at home more to trade. Now, first of all, I think I'm going to be rather bullish about pound. Yeah, so it has already cleared the short-term horizontal level, and I think I still hold the view that it's going all the way to 140. Yeah, so pretty bullish about it. That's on saying that this is the only pair whereby I'll be really that bullish. All the others are quite skeptical about it. Now, Swiss price has retraced to this level. Now, I'm not sure whether this level will hold or not, being that the current sentiments on the market is that Swiss and yen is a safe haven currency. So, yeah, that's why I'm not saying, not really sure that this level will hold. On Monday, it will be crucial for me because if on Monday you can see that on the daily chart, price broke, currently is retesting this level. Now, if on the daily chart by Monday close, that means 1 bar later, price decides to head over, then I'll be a Swiss bear. Yeah, but currently due to the weekly chart on how it's being represented, I'll put it on the second of my list. Yeah, so it really depends on Monday morning, Monday night. Euro, more or less the same thing. You can see that on the weekly chart, price broke, retest. That's on the weekly chart. On the daily chart, we can see it has almost the same similarity with Swiss, broke, and then it actually closed rather bullish above 120. Yeah. So I'm hoping that this level will hold. That means on the long, for the long term, then Euro will be going on an uptrend. Now, if this level doesn't hold on Monday morning, then I'll be officially a Euro bear also. Yeah. So Monday morning will be quite iffy for me. Quite a lot of observations. Now, what I'm really interested in is actually on the Kiwi and CAT, because on the Kiwi, on the weekly chart, price has been ranging. Yeah, it has been on a tight range on a weekly chart. But if you look closely on the daily chart, what happens is that although price is ranging, the histogram does represent that the momentum for shorts is actually present, not so much for long. Yeah. So what I mean to me is that what I read is that on a ranging chart, if the momentum is displaying that there are more shorts than long, then it's poised to be a short breakout sooner or later. Yeah. So there's this Kiwi dollar play short that will be happening, should be happening. I don't know when. So to me, I'll look for a break of these regions, and then I'll go for a short Kiwi. Now, the same play is on CAT. You can see that on the weekly chart, CAT is actually ranging. So on the daily chart, we have the same thing. You can see that on the histogram momentum is that most of it are actually bearish momentum. Yeah, so I'm still waiting for a bearish short play to come in before I will actually jump in the fund. Anything in range, I'll wait for price to actually officially break up before I jump in the fund. Before that, I'd rather stay on the sideline. Aussie, also ranging. So you can see actually most of the commodity pairs are ranging. I don't know how long they're going to range, but they're all displaying very similar tendencies. Is that for the histogram part, is actually on the displaying that there are more shorts in play than long. Yeah. at least for the momentum. So I'm waiting for price to actually break this box before I can actually go in for a short play. Yen, it has already break my horizon. This will be my short-term horizontal level. Price has break on the daily chart. Price didn't actually retest, and you can see that it's last week in heavy selling. So I'll probably expect some retracements, and that when the retracement is done, it won't be a long minor retracement. I think it will be a minor retracement, and then I'll join any yen shots. And then overall, I'm still bearish about the XY. So on this weekly chart, you can see that price, this is still a downtrend channel. Price probably takes some pause, might retrace back to 91, and then continue its shorts level. Yeah. So that's my play this week. I'm going to short yen, going to short dollar, just going to long pound. In the middle, I'm just going to, for the commodity pair, I'm just going to wait for price to actually break up, and then I'll jump in for funds. Yeah. Other than that, I'll probably stay out of Swiss and Euro. Not very sure about them. So that's all for me for this week.
Cheers, Lloyd. Thank you very much for that. And we're going to go to Geoff. Got a couple of questions. One, I think both from Lewis. One about gold, one about oil. Look, might let in answer to your questions, Lewis, I did talk about buying oil down there and coming out about $45, which was the basic cost of production. And I think that the channel on gold that's short exists on a weekly chart. On a daily chart, I think it's a bit messy. It's still there, and I think before you really would want to get long with any size, you need to see it broken. I think you can start and build positions at the bottom of them, but I think you need to see that channel broken before and retested before you really would put any size into those positions. I hope that answers the questions. Geoff, how are you doing?
You're going well, mates. For a Sunday, actually remarkably well. Been working hard all weekend. So that's my exercise for the weekend. I'll be not going for a run or a walk after this. I'll be having a whiskey, I think.
It's quite a
Does that
nice
sound more like it? I can't hear you, mate. So I'll just continue on. Hopefully you can see my screen at this point, but I've got a funny feeling.
See your screen and everything's okay, buddy. You can't hear me?
Yeah, I can now. All good. Okay, so I'm starting with the dollar index, and actually, Lloyd, if you put that up, I'm not sure if you did or not, but I just had to duck out momentarily. From this chart, I'm anticipating that we may see a dollar retracement on the current trend, which of course is bullish. I've got a fairly substantial support level here and a confluence area, and it's pretty much bang on the 91 again, I suppose, but that's inconsequential for mine. The fact is, for me, I see a retracement possible on the dollar. So that's going to influence me for what I'm looking for currently. Dollar yen, actually we're out of that trade now, I'll get rid of it. Yeah, I'll just get rid of that off the screen. We traded this in the trading retreat, actually. We saw a nice little slingshot set up off a trade line down here and got into that with that bar. Traded all the way up to here, and I got out 105.53, I think was the level, which was on Friday. Now, I see this as a potential pullback to this trend line or trade line here, rather, underneath this very, very strong, if you like, and that's the weekly pivot of tomorrow, I think 105.24 or something. So getting back underneath that will be crucial to this. So if it doesn't, then perhaps we're going to here up into the 106s. That would be interesting, but I don't see that yet. I see a pullback, and hopefully for me, that pullback will come to this this trade line. Now, I'm not sure there's a great confluence area there, to be frank. That's the level. There is one there, I suppose. Yeah, that'll do. So this is not going to happen quickly, according to me. So I really don't want to be in dollar yen to a major degree, but I can certainly see a pullback. And if I do see that pullback begin with that bearish engulfing bar, you could say, okay, maybe it has begun. I'd like to see a lower high in this vicinity here. That's a 4-hour chart I'm looking at. The daily is probably the bigger opportunity. So if we can come down pretty much where we are now, bounce off that and put in a lower high based on that reversal bar there. So anywhere in this vicinity here, I think would be okay. Hopefully we've then got some form of trade line or confluence of some degree here, but certainly a lower high in that vicinity on the 4-hour chart would get me interest as well. So I will be looking at this from Monday. And if we can find that, then I think I would like to trade this back down. Where to? Well, as I said, it may take some time to get to this area here, but that horizontal level 105 looks to be the money for me. So I don't think I'd like to go that far below it. So if we got in, say, 105.50, something like that, pretty much where I got out, then I wouldn't mind trading it back there for 50 odd pips, but it'll want to be a decent setup. You can see from this area that we've got a double pump false break potential on, well, it is a false break of that trade line currently, a pullback to there, which is this level here. And we're probably talking a week, maybe even 2 weeks away. That may well be a buy area there at that point. We'll see. A lot can happen in that period of time, of course. The other one I want to trade with or against the dollar is not dissimilar to what we're looking at here. If you can see a false break of the support trade line, you'll see pretty much exactly the same on the Aussie. Now, again, I'll get rid of that as well. We placed an order on this on Thursday, and we were trading above this candle here. Now I cancelled the order. It being Friday, I'd go into Friday, I cancelled the order. So I'm actually not in that position. But there was a nice little higher low sitting here based on this area here. It also, if you want to call it that, gives you a right shoulder. I wouldn't have traded that in the month of Sundays, unfortunately, because it looks like it would have been a corker. Trading into the daily pivot, very, very dangerous. Maybe you could have picked it up on a smaller time frame. But now it's in a tricky area. But the clue here for me, if you see this market structure that I've got, the descending channel, coupled with the potential false break again of this level, if we were to pull back to here and maybe even pick up a horizontal level as well, I'm not sure if that's the case. Yeah, that would do. Something in that area. If we could pull back to here, pick up that confluence, then I think there's a trade to the top of this range. Range, of course, to me is anything that's got a boundary on it, and this descending channel would fit that bill precisely. So I'm looking for a pullback. I don't know if I want to trade that, to be honest, but I'd like to see that pull back to here, and then we can buy it again. Now, if I have a look at this on the bigger picture, we've had one phase up, 2 phases up, then a pause. Interesting. I don't see a third phase stopping anytime soon if it does get going. There is a level here, of course, right there. But, you know, if you're not in profit at that point, then something's wrong. So I'm looking for that to happen. I think that third push here, 1 phase, 2 phases, a little bit of a pullback and a little bit more would be ideal for me. Then pick it up and certainly take profit here. But if it happened to get through that level, then who knows what might be on. And of course, I'm a massive dollar bear anyway, so that would fit into my calculations. Do I see anything right now? No. As I said, I want to see that pull back a fair bit to this trade line, and then I can look to go. 2 more. The third is Aussie CAD, and it's pretty much a replica of that, is it not? So very much the same analysis. Monthly chart, 1 phase, 2 phases, exactly the same scenario where we've come down off a level, a reversal bar. And interestingly, we haven't been able to close above that. That is interesting to me. But again, the same thing applies. We are at the bottom, or we've come off the bottom of that range. if we can pick up a pullback here on any chart, daily, 4 hour, doesn't matter. If we can pick up a higher low, we can trade at the top of that range, take some profit. And if it breaks through and goes back with trend, we leave something open, of course, in case that's going to happen. And if it does, this could take off again. And again, going back to the monthly chart, you've probably got a fair bit of room above you to get a decent win out of this. Let me try that again. There we go. So this could go, you know, beyond parity. The interesting part about Aussie CAD for mine is, again, and I'm talking technicals here, but we did have unemployment figures from the Aussie last week, I think it was, and the CAD this week. CAD wasn't good, and the Aussie was good. So on the fundamental basis, and that's what we saw in not those candles, but this candle and this candle, and the 3 bars that we see here on the daily chart. This has got a bit of momentum up, but it is, of course, at a resistance level. So I'll pull back off that, give me a higher low, and I can probably even call that level. That level is around about 97.70. If we could pull back to there, then I think we could definitely get into this. You probably have to take a little bit of profit at the monthly pivot. If you can get in down here somewhere, that's not impossible. Then you're looking for maybe a breakthrough here. And as I said, if it does return to trend, then this has got a fair way to go and you're going to get some money out of it. So I think on a risk reward basis, that's a good one to watch. Now I do know, and I do understand that oil has broken out last week, broken out of a fairly decent range. There's no question there. But as Ainsley's just said, it's due a pullback as well. So if we got that, and we could drive this one up here, of course, the CAD very much correlated to oil. If we can find that retracement to coincide with this rally, then I think that's a distinct possibility. So Aussie CAD I'll be watching throughout the week. The final one, going back to an old chestnut here, really, since we saw this tweezer bottom sitting here and this big higher high, we've been looking to trade this long. And we picked it up here, I think, picked it up here, and we just couldn't get any follow through. And it kept coming back on, similar to Euro CAD, which I've been in for 100 years and still in it. So what I see here from a technical point of view is, well, a few things really. We're still getting higher lows, but we're getting equal highs. And of course, that equates to an ascending triangle. You can probably see that sitting in there. And we've also got a rectangular trading range, which is very much coinciding with the top of that ascending triangle. So this is key area here. And that's the reason I've got this on a watch list right now. This to me is exactly what we're looking for every week. And really, this is the best chart that I've found in my analysis for potential trading rectangles or ranges, top of ranges. We've got it now at the perfect place. So one of 2 things is going to happen, or one of 3 things is going to happen, really. It's going to break to the high side. And if it does, we'll look for a pullback so we can get into that move. But if it does break to the high side, then come straight back into the range, we'd be looking for a lower high. And indeed, if it fell now, we would still be looking for a lower high. So price down here, pull back, or price out of here, pull back, then go. Or price out here, pull back underneath, retest, then go. So anything could happen here as far as CAD Swiss is concerned. But going back to the bias is most definitely for me, for the short term anyway, in the up cycle. So looking for trades probably up to this vicinity, 72 level. Maybe take this high back. Maybe take it to there. That looks like the level, doesn't it? Let's call it 72. So I'm looking to trade that to there. This could happen in many, many ways. And by the way it's taking its time to form something that's actually meaningful. Again, I'll be looking for this week. The break and retest, then go to there, or back inside, trade it to the bottom. Then once we get down there, and I'm getting into the future, I understand that, but this is pretty clear to me what I will be looking for. If we do trade it down to the bottom of this range, then we'll look for a false break of this trade line, which is now becoming quite substantial and very, 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 very good. So I expect that we'll see some action here at some stage. Whether it's off here, I don't know. But if it comes down to here, hits this level, gets back above there, that'll be the signal to go long, and probably long for a fair while, back up to here. So, mate, I really haven't got any trades, but I think this is probably the best setup that I've got in terms of a range trade, and a couple of pullbacks necessary on Aussie CAD and dollar yen before we can get into those.
Yeah, mate. It's certainly a market that's done a little bit recently. It doesn't give you the hope it's going to keep doing a bit and give you some of the pullbacks that you're looking for. Mate, Salva would like to know any fundamentals for the US dollar beer.
Have I got any fundamentals?
Is it just something that you're born with, Geoff? You've had all your life, or is it something that you've got?
It's absolutely fundamental to my existence, Paul. Look, I don't, to my bearishness. Well, I do, but you know, it's not an economist point of view. It's not and they'd probably laugh at me. But when I see, and they're the world champions in everything, right? The US, but they're certainly the world champions in printing money. And to my mind, it's a logical and common sense point of view. It's got nothing to do with being a knowledgeable economist or anything close to that, because I'm not. And that's why I steer clear of fundamentals, because when it comes to markets, I really know jack shit about fundamentals. But when I apply common sense, it tends to work out for me. And common sense to me says the world champions in printing money have to answer at some stage. And they have been to a degree in the last, 6 months, 12 months. I don't see that stopping anytime soon. So this to me is a relief rally, maybe based on Biden, maybe based on a whole heap of stuff that really I don't know about. And if that's what you're asking me, Salva, I'm sorry I can't help you. What I can help you with is I look at it logically, and logic to me says the dollar's in SH1T and heaps of it.
When you get a chance, Google modern monetary theory and have a read on that, Geoff. You'll love it. It's the kind of thing that'll keep you awake at night. You will find it fascinating. Modern monetary theory is, I don't know how they get to call it modern, because it's been around for a long time, really. But modern monetary theory is a fascinating read, and there's some logic to it. And I'm not a fan. Modern monetary theory basically suggests that limitless printing of money is just fine. Now,
okay. So they're disagreeing with me. Sorry, I missed that last bit.
If I could print my own money, I'd agree with them.
Yeah, well, there you go.
I can't. I don't.
It's a worry.
Mate, it's an interesting time we live in. I've got to say, mate, I think the argument that there's more US dollars, so they're going to be worth less against other things.
It makes sense, doesn't it?
The same argument as inflation. Inflation's coming because of this. It's the same argument. I think it's very hard to argue with that. It's at some level. One thing I would say is we've seen money printing from the US now for the best part of 10 years, and we haven't seen the destruction of the currency. And I think that's where people get a bit carried away. Will we see a fall in the US dollar? I think that is inevitable. Will we see the destruction of the US dollar and it being replaced with some new crypto moon currency from Mars? I think that's highly unlikely. I do think we'll just see a sell in the US dollar like we often do at different times in economic cycles. But then again, as we all say, mate, that's only my opinion on it as well. I think we are done for the day. Our attempt's not bad.
Well, can I show you one last thing to show you how crazy the crypto moon currency is?
Yep.
Okay, before we go, guys. Okay, so we've seen this before. So, you guys know I bought paid at 4.2 cents. You remember on Tuesday, 26 January was 42 cents. Now it's gone to $4.22, which means it's gone up 100 times. So, let's do the calculation again, 58,000, because I started with $588, right? Somewhere there, plus 7,453 is about 66,000. I don't know. I think we're at 92 times already, okay? So yes, it's gone up from 86 times to 92 times. So thanks, Lewis. Lewis conjured up the god of crypto, which is Elon Musk.
You've got another, we've gone up another 6 times while we've been talking.
Yeah, well, we were talking, right?
It's not bad.
Conjured up. Guys, if you want to go into crypto, I want to tell you this. We have two gods, okay? One is Lord Elon, and the other guy is this. And I think to like intervene, say, how can Shukri do the wrong calculation? Okay, we're gonna give him some help.
Good man. That's on Tuesday, right?
That's on Tuesday, yeah. And we're gonna call Geoff the Lord of Kusama. Okay, Kusama. Bye, guys.
I'm going to let anything that's coming to mind around this just pass. I'm just going to let it go. But 7 o'clock Tuesday with you, Shukri, for that. Is that right?
7:50 tomorrow, 7:50 on Wednesday. But on Tuesday at 4:30, we're going to bring Geoff into Kusama.
So you're going to do it in his show, right? So it's 4:30 Singapore time. You're going to bring Geoff into Kusama. And look, just because I've known Geoff for a long time, I'm really reluctant to ask what that is, you know? You just don't know what's coming next, you know?
It's a rebirthing of me, Paul. It's like I'm being born again. And anybody who's Christian-based, I apologise for that analogy, but I'm being reborn.
See, I told you. I said, you know, you just don't ask, right? You just let this thing go straight by. Yeah. Oh, mate, 4:50 on 4:30, 4:50 on Tuesday for the rebirth of Geoff. And guys, look, we won't be back next Sunday. So if myself and on behalf of the team, we can wish you a very, very happy New Year. Honestly, I hate calling it Chinese New Year. We don't call it European New Year. It's just New Year for mine. So have a wonderful New Year, guys. Have some great time with family. I know it's an amazing event. Have a great week, guys. Enjoy yourselves. And remember, family before money, people. No matter what else you're doing, spend the time with those you love and enjoy next weekend. We'll be back Sunday after. Thank you, team. Thank you, guys. See you later. See you.
Bye.